Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here, and once again, another day, another banger over at TSM. We have some very, very big news to talk about coming out regarding them. This revolves around their head coach, Chowie. Now, Chowie was brought in, and when he was brought in, I think he was brought in this past offseason. When he was brought in, I think a lot of people were overall pretty excited about him. He is a guy who's a former professional player. He, seemed like an interesting pickup, seemed like an interesting option, seemed like an interesting bridge between what TSM wanted to do with their whole, team speaks Mandarin team or whatever's going on. A guy who might be able to help them bring in some other Chinese Mandarin speaking players and is going to work well, hopefully, with even bringing in Maple in the summer. That was another option that it was going to work out well with, but still, even when they had Kaido and Shenny and Spica and this whole thing, and it looked like this was the direction TSM was going to be going into the future and all that stuff. But obviously, so much has changed since then, and TSM has not really done a whole lot of winning since then. Again, in the summer split, they finished 7th place. They end up finishing, I guess, top 6 at the end of the playoffs, maybe top 5, something like that. But that was after a 7th place finish in the regular season. Spring regular season, they finished tied for 9th. Call it 9th, call it 10th, call it whatever you want. But really, really rough spring, really, really rough summer. But they did kind of turn things around by the end of the summer. And it was like, hey, is Chowie actually getting some stuff done? Are they actually learning? Are they actually finally playing as a team? Are they actually developing over the course of the season? They won more games in summer than they did in spring. They look better in playoffs than they did in the regular season. Like, hey, that might be kind of a sign of some kind of good coaching, some kind of good leadership, something going on. Now, how small was Chowie's role with the team by the end of the year? I don't know. How much that was Chowie's doing, how much that was the different rosters and stuff they brought in, what all was Chowie getting done behind the scenes, I don't exactly know. But pretty much, especially going into the playoffs, not so much during and after the playoffs, but going into the playoffs, most people expected that Chowie was not going to be back with TSM next year. And I had heard rumors about that. I had heard things. The only reason I hadn't put anything out or put out a rumor or put out a video or anything was because I was a little bit worried or a little bit concerned, especially with TSM performing well in the playoffs, that things could change. And I hadn't necessarily heard anything new since our little playoff run. So I was like, hey, man, could Chowie actually be coming back? Could TSM really do this? So that's why I wanted to wait. I wanted to, talk to some more people, see what was going on. But we did get this from LCS Eevee, and this has kind of flown under the radar. This only got 200 likes. LCS Eevee is working with the Game House now with TGH. He is actually like a reporter for them. He's trying to be one of these big guys. He's trying to be, a Wooloo or a Jacob Wolf or whoever. He's trying to talk sources, trying to put out news. He's going to be putting out articles. He's going to be breaking stuff. But with just how this game works, you got to break some big stories, see that they actually come true, and then, people will start to believe you more and more. You got to build up your credibility. You got to build these things up over time. And just at this point, Eevee hasn't put out enough stories yet that people know he's legit, know how good he is. I hope people are going to see how good he is. I hope he's going to learn. I hope it's going to be good for the Game House and all that. But this did fly under the radar a little bit. But LCS Eevee tweeted out sources, TSM to part ways with head coach Chowie. Now, again, right at first glance, this isn't going to surprise a lot of people. So some people will be like, oh, do you actually know that TSM's parting ways with them? Or are you just assuming? This isn't a hard assumption to make that a team that really, really struggled this year is going to be getting on with a new coach. But again, like I said, especially because by the end of the year, now with Spica gone as well, they are so far removed from their Chinese roster or anything like that. They ended up bringing in Chime. They ended up bringing in Solo. Now they're losing Spica. Who knows what jungler they're going to get? There's a world where they could have no Chinese players at all next year. And then does it really make sense to have Chowie at that point? Is Chowie really better than anyone else in the LCS or Europe or anything like that, especially after this year? Probably not. I don't know. But maybe TSM wants to reload in this offseason with some new Chinese players or some new international players or new imports or whatever. I don't know. Even if they do that, is Chowie still the guy? Hey, probably not. But here's the article that Eevee or the Game House or whoever did put out. They said, according to sources, TSM will be parting ways with Chowie. This comes after TSM's loss in the second round of the 2022 Summer Split lower bracket to Evil Geniuses 2-3. Chowie finished his first and only year with the team. No corresponding moves are known as of yet. Again, TSM went 6-12 and finished 7th. The entirety of the 2022 season was scattered and confusing. The many changes at the top of TSM, the experiment with Kaido and Shenny, the Peter Zhang stuff, the Reggie stuff, all the tactical stuff going on. There was to be fair to Chowie, I think it's really, really hard to evaluate his year with TSM. You can question the drafts, you can question the leadership and say that he could have or should have done more, should have had better drafts, should have had better control of his team. I think that's all very, very fair. But again, at the same time, with everything that was going on behind the scenes and the fact that TSM didn't really have great rosters in either the spring or summer, he was kind of put up in a position to fail as well, and I think the fault of that definitely comes on the TSM management and staff and everyone. Even before the new management came in place, like Parth and the old guys, but then even once the new management came in place, there's definitely a lot of questions that are fair to ask about what the heck was going on. Chowie was put in a weird position. Maybe he's being scapegoated a little bit, but I also did hear a rumor as well that potentially Chowie wants to leave, or he just wants to be gone. Maybe he didn't love NA. Maybe he didn't love working for TSM. Maybe he knows this isn't going to work out well into the future. This could actually be like a mutual parting of ways. This could even be the case of like Chowie not wanting to come back next year and TSM not wanting him back. So, or maybe it's just Chowie was like, hey guys, I don't really want to come back. And they're like, yeah, no, we feel that. So it might not even be necessarily that like TSM is saying, hey, we don't want Chowie. He's trying to come back, but no, you're gone. Or we think you suck or whatever. Just maybe this is going to be best for everyone involved as well. What was surprising, what TSM was able to take EG, the first seed, to the brink, but now we know this is Danny had all this different stuff going on. He was obviously dealing with a lot. He obviously didn't play very well, and the Evil Geniuses team looked very, very different when their whole season had been, hey, we're going to play through Danny. We're going to stack him up. We're going to funnel into him, and he's going to do like 32% of our damage. He's going to carry us in the late game, and he wasn't able to do that. So, was TSM playing absolutely out of their minds? No. They were playing better than they did as a 9th place or a 7th place team in the spring or summer, but I don't think TSM was playing like absolutely cracked either. They're still probably like the 5th or 6th best team in the LCS, which for TSM simply isn't good enough. Again, is it coaching staff? Is it management? Is it roster? Is it a little bit of everything? I don't know for sure. But obviously the questions are going to be, hey, who's the next TSM coach going to be if Chowie is really gone? And I think that's interesting. I don't know. They do have Xmithie as their academy coach. Could they maybe bring him up? I think a lot of people do expect that Xmithie would make a really, really good coach, but is he ready for a head coaching position at this time? I'm not quite sure. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of coaching positions pop up, who's going to be leaving what teams, who's going to be available. There are some rumors out there right now as well that Anero could be like the next GM for TSM, which could be an interesting and exciting move. We know that Glenn, I believe, is the assistant general manager for TSM right now. And when I spoke with Dominic Callis last year, Dominic said that he isn't the GM for TSM. He wants to bring in somebody who's going to make the decisions for rosters and stuff like that for the League of Legends team. So could Anero be coming over? Is Anero going to handpick some coach, something like that? I don't know. I think it is really, really difficult to come up with coaching ideas or who is going to be a coach because you don't even know who's available or anything like that. I know there's definitely some good minds and some good names out there. TSM's going to need to find somebody good, but also TSM's going to have to decide what they want to do with their roster first because head coaches, I think, are very, very dependent on the players, and a certain coach will work better with some rosters, worse with some rosters, stuff like that. So we'll have to wait and see. But at least according to LCS EV, right now it does look like TSM is going to be firing their coach, parting ways with their coach, call it what you will. It looks like TSM and Chowie, after just one season, are going to be coming to an end, that relationship, and it looks like TSM is going to be headed into a new direction in 2023. Obviously a very, very weird year for TSM and Chowie, but I think it's pretty clear to everyone that this didn't work out and this probably wasn't going to work out going forward. So at the end of the day, it's not very surprising, but it still is a very, very big story. TSM is going to be on the market for a new head coach, potentially, or at least it looks like, according to sources, LCS EV, Gamehouse, good stuff, that they're going to be on the market for a new coach going into 2023. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know who you guys think TSM will get or should get as their head coach for 2023. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. Also, check out the Twitch stream. First link in the description below. Hopefully catch you in the next one. Peace.